Hi guys, it's Clarice and welcome to another video tutorial with me. We are continuing on in our series of watercolor basics for January of 2022. And so just like the previous videos from this year, we are going to be using our ZenART brushes, which I think is a great beginner set for anyone who is starting off in watercolor and does not want to spend a whole bunch of money on expensive brushes. So this is a great start if you're just kind of testing the waters to see if this is something you like or not. It is also a great set of brushes for people who might well be into watercolors as well. But yeah, not to exclude those guys out. We are also going to be using the Legion Stonehenge 300 GSM for our painting today. I have my set of White Nights 36 handy over here, and then I am going to be using this delectable palette by KMS Watercolors. It's called Gemstones, and these are metallic watercolors. So we're going to be using a combination of two today, and I've got water ready, I have my paper towel ready, and we are ready to begin. So I've zoomed in so you can see better, and I am using my number 8 and number 10 for this. I already have some color on my brushes here just so I can save time. I have mixed the amethyst on my number 10, right? Number 10 amethyst. And then on my number 8, I have some Quin Rose, which is from my White Nights, which is right here. That's what that looks like. And we're going to begin with that. So now, because the amethyst is a nice dark color, I'm going to use that for the stem, and then I'm going to use the Quin Rose to kind of get some nice light leaves coming out from there. And I just have my palette ready here, so I'm just going to get some of this color. So if I need to get like a more mixed up, diluted shade of Quin Rose, this is how I'm going to get that. Okay, so here we go. First thing I'm going to do is I am going to do my stem, and I'm going to do one stem happening from the top down, and I'm going to get more color just because I feel like it is not dark enough. And I'm just going to roughly kind of use the tip of this brush to kind of pull this down all the way. And as it is going downward, I can see that it is getting darker and thicker, and I don't mind that. And now we're going to start doing the leaves. And so for the leaves, for the leaves we're going to use the number 8, and we're going to go right away. And actually, before we do that, here's what I want to show you. This is what you should also do, is to get that nice blending effect. So let's just keep this palette at the top here so I have easy access to it. So we want this to be damp still, and the reason being is when we go in with our leaf painting, we want to be able to go in and get a nice blending going on. So here's one stem, and I'm going to go over it a few times just so it is damp. Then going in with the number 8, I'm going to go ahead and press down and trail off to get a leaf. Dipping the tip of my brush in water, I'm going to press down and trail off again. And then pushing all the color down here. Again, we're going to do the same thing. Oops, looks like there's some color that kind of appeared on this side. We're going to do the same thing on this end here. So let's just get to that. And I'm gonna pressing the tip onto that area, trail off. And you can see that there wasn't enough color on my brush, which is why it's rendered this area of dryness happening here. But we're just gonna go ahead and work with what we have and do the other side of the brush. And allow the brush and the water to kind of give us these beautiful natural looking edges. I'm gonna do another one over here. And then for this one, I'm just going to dip my number 8 in water, and I am going to kind of, you know what, start from here and trail off. Do another one this way. And then I'm going to take the number 10 and add additional strokes inside here, just so you can get a nice flare of color in your leaves. And so they kind of, not trail, but they're kind of representing the colors we've used in the tips of the leaves as well. That also works. And again, this exercise is to get you used to the basics of, you know, really pressing down your brush and getting these shapes. This is different from the first watercolor leaf video for this year, but this is also coming to you in a very kind of pattern manner as opposed to a loose pattern. So again, dipping the tip of my brush in water, kind of doing the other side. And this is the perfect time to go in and add some touches of the purple, which I just did. So we're going to do the same thing that we've done here all upward, just making the leaves slightly smaller. So I'm going to make that a time lapse and we'll be right back. Alright, so this is how that's turned out. I went smaller on the leaves as I went above, so I was very intentional in making sure that my brush pressure wasn't too much and I didn't drag off the sheet as much as I did for the bigger guys, and that's how I was able to get the smaller leaves. Now, I did one which was dark because I also wanted to have like nice mishmash of the dark hues mixed with our light hues. And so we're going to do, using the number, I think I had the number 10 using the amethyst. So I'm going to get a little bit more of the amethyst. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just do a little bit more on this guy here so he's nice and dark. Just adding a couple of hints of the amethyst into these little guys here because they are still damp. So it's the perfect opportunity. And then I'm going to go ahead and create some over here using the darker tones. And this way it'll tie the whole structure or composition of leaves as making it look more cohesive and whole. So I think these three are enough. It really does bump up the contrast value and also the texture when it comes to not just the difference in colors, but also the dryness that we kind of have with some of these leaves over here. Mind you, that was not intentional, but this is the beauty of watercolor where you're able to kind of go with the flow and enjoy a loose style where you're not particularly looking for a specific rendering, unless you are very, like, you're being commissioned and you know exactly what you're doing. But this is more for fun, for therapeutic, personal satisfaction, and just to kind of get you practicing, and also to get to know the brushes and maybe get some knowledge about, you know, how watercolor works, especially if you're a beginner. So this is what we've ended up with. We're going to do one more, and so let me get the brushes ready and we will continue. So for this next stem, we're going to use the number 8, and we're going to flip what we did over here. So instead of using the metallics for the stem, we're going to use the regular watercolor, and let's use some of the Payne's Gray, which is right there. And I'm just going to mix it up with some purple that I previously had on my palette. Anyways, feel free to just use the plain Payne's Gray. I just don't like to waste color, and so I'm going to mix it up because we got some purple in there too, so I think it'll be a nice contrast. And now again, what I want to do is pretty much the same thing that I've done here. Now that this has dried, we're going to go over and do a stem kind of coming from down here all the way up. Oops! Mistakes happen that way. Okay, so instead of going this way, it's going to go right through here where I have indicated. Womp womp. So here goes. I am just going to make sure that there's enough water on this already before we begin. Yes, my brush is damp enough. And we're going to start off by starting from the bottom all the way to the top, pretty much like how we did it the first time around. So here we go. Let's try and align as best as we can. If we can't, that's okay. I'll start from here. Just make sure that things are not damp still. Now I know we've got this guy here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this looking like one of those more branchy kind of stems that are stoic and not very flowy, but kind of are all over. I don't know if that makes any sense. Choppy. Yeah, so they're not like perfectly aligned or they don't flow or dance. They're very choppy looking, so kind of like this. And even the ends are kind of sharp. You've got little branches kind of poking out here and there. Some are thick, some are thin. You've got a variety of different things happening. Okay, so something like that. Again, we're just going to go ahead and place these little branches wherever we see fit. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more to the bottom. And you know what? I'm kind of really digging how this dark kind of shadow looks in juxtaposition, like next to the flowy leaves that we got going on. So you could actually just end right here and leave this as your painting. But I'm going to do a little bit more and enhance this. I kind of, once I start, I just keep going and going, so it takes a little bit of really intentional thinking to stop. But yeah, I'm just enhancing some of the branches so that they stand out nice and dark and they don't wholly disappear in what's happening with the pink here. So that's perfect. I really like what that looks like. So I went ahead and added just a tiny bit of detail here and there, like just additional tiny branches to the main branches that we had. What I want to do is, and I thought I'd record this just so you can make note of it, is I want to add a couple of dots here and there, kind of just to keep that whole vibe of this is loose, So I'm just kind of pressing down lightly in certain areas, some touching the branches, some away slightly, and trying to get that natural effect of, while giving it detail but not really giving it detail. Does that make sense? Some can just be like random dots that are just trailing off at the end. You can absolutely have some over the leaves as well. There's not an issue at all. Overlapping would be a nice additional feature. Do not be afraid to try these things. Just remember, it's paper. If you don't like it, the next time you do this, you can try something else. Go with your gut instinct. Part of the learning journey is trying things that you normally wouldn't, and then experimenting. So I think enough time spent on this. We can now move on to adding some other elements on our stem or branch here. All right, so I like the idea of using a little bit of turquoise against this, and so I have some turquoise on my number 8, and now I am going to really quickly get some of the Payne's Gray that we used onto my 10, which I already have. And what I'm going to do is, using the number 10 that has the Payne's Gray, I'm going to lightly touch it onto the tip of my turquoise. And then here's what we're going to do. We're going to add some berry looking elements onto our guy over here. And we're going to try and add some nice pop of color, achieve some pop of color using that. So we've got some of the, there we go, that's exactly how it should be. And as you feel like you need a little bit more, just get some more. And you're getting this beautiful kind of gradient effect happening with these guys. And try and control the sizing of them, and they don't have to be all over the place. You're literally just using the tip to kind of lay down these very loose looking, almost like seeds. You can go directly in there, get some color. I like to do them in 3s. You don't have to do them in 3s. You can kind of just add them as you go along. Okay, so I would like to add these just using my own, taking my own time and focusing. So I'm going to make this a time lapse for you guys, and we will be right back with the end results. Alright, so after I went ahead and created all these guys, this is what it looks like. I like how it looks. I was initially thinking to add a third stem and do something else, but I think this is where we're going to end it. I think it works great. If you want to go ahead and add a third stem, similar to this one, just without the little blue guys in there, absolutely go ahead. Or maybe even try one with another color, just on a lesser scale than this one, and see how that goes. But let me show you the glitter or the gleam that these metallics give you. And I love the combination of the regular and the metallic, because not everything is shining, it's just certain ones. So it's a great contrast, it's a great balance. I think it really adds some nice pop to your end results. So on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please hit the like button, and please consider subscribing to my channel if you enjoy videos like this. I hope this will help you progress in your journey in watercolor, as you're probably either learning or looking for ideas on how to use basic strokes to create something pretty. So send me your work on Instagram and Facebook. I would love to see what you guys come up with. Thank you guys for watching, and we will chat soon. Bye!